Welcome to the Jessica Koulianos podcast. Welcome back, everybody. We are here for part 2. We just had an amazing part 1 together, Dad. We talked about the Lord, how you met Jesus. I loved all the stories. We're going to just jump right back in.
I'm ready.
And now I'm going to ask more family questions, fun questions, just all the things. So a couple things that I think is so cool about you. I will say you are a really great dad. You haven't always been the easiest dad, and I definitely did not have the easiest childhood, but you've always been a very amazing dad. You know where all of your kids are. You check on us all the time. You're so intentional with your grandkids, your family, with your friends. I've always really respected that about you, Dad. I've told this story before, I think at Jesus School, and so many parents have come up to me and really told me that it blessed them. I don't even know if you remember this story, but we had a pretty big family thing happen years ago, and I remember you and I were in a fight, and we didn't talk for several months, which is so unusual for you and I, because we talked.
That was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. And we talk probably how many times a day would you say you call me?
Now?
Yeah, let's be real.
Oh my goodness, 10 times?
At least. And yeah, we talk a lot. I mean, I love you, but we talk a lot. So not talking for a handful of months was very, very weird for you and I.
I remember.
We've always been super close. And I remember you did some things that hurt me, and you know, I was in pain, and we were kind of getting back to being around each other again and talking again, but it wasn't fully what it was. Like there was still some awkwardness and tension between you and I. And I remember we were living in Florida, and you were still living in California at the time, and me and the kids came to visit you with Michael. And I remember I was leaving your house, and I came to say goodbye, and I went and hugged you and said goodbye to you. But it wasn't what we were used to. There was definitely distance between us. And I remember, I won't cry because it just doesn't, we've been laughing, so I might cry when I talk about it. But I remember I went to the car and started to walk to the car, and I heard you scream my name. And I looked back, and you ran down the street after me. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And you grabbed me as I was walking to the car, and you threw your arms around me, and you jumped, you kind of threw yourself on the floor and threw your arms around my legs. And you said, "Please, baby, forgive me, I'm so sorry." And you started to cry, and then I started to cry. And I remember it was such a beautiful moment of forgiveness. It was like you were not afraid. Here you were in your pajamas in the middle of your street, and you ran after me because you just wanted me back in your life. And I remember that really touched me. And from that moment on, I feel like we've had our disagreements, but we've really been super close ever since that moment, Dad. That was many years ago.
Yeah.
But I always have told that story, and I've gotten such beautiful feedback because I think sometimes parents are ashamed to show their children their weakness. And you never did that. You were always so quick to say sorry, even publicly. Even I'd see you do that at the church when I was little and in ministry. And when you hurt someone's feelings, a friend, a family member, you were always so quick to take ownership and fix it. And I really love that about you. So for a parent that might be listening, that maybe they have an ought with a child or someone close to them, why did you allow yourself to be so vulnerable to win me back in that moment?
I feel always that all I have in life are my children, and now my grandchildren. And you've always been special, beyond anything I can explain, because you're my first child, and we've always had a very close relationship.
Yeah.
The heart has many chambers, Jessica. There's a chamber for you, there's a chamber for Tashi, there's a chamber for Joshua, there's a chamber for Lily, there's a chamber for my grandkids, each one. But every chamber is special.
Yeah.
And you and I have had an amazing walk together as daddy-daughter.
Yeah.
And yes, we've had our challenges, but there's one thing that I have learned from my parents, and I think that has a lot to do with the way I am. I never remember my dad or my mom, and they did not, we did not kind of live the kind of life that people live today. For example, my daddy did not show much emotions when we were growing up. My mom did, my dad did not. But he showed love through deed rather than through emotion.
Yeah.
My mommy was the emotional one in the family. She's the one who would hug us and such things. I don't remember my dad hugging us a whole lot when we were young. Even to the time he passed away, I think I was more scared of him than anything else.
He was a strong man.
He was a very strong man. But I learned one thing from my mom and my dad. I never remember them raising their voice against each other. I never remember a day of tension in our home. If there was such a thing as a perfect marriage, it was my mom and my dad. And the way they raised us, the way they loved us, the way they took care of us. Yeah, when I got saved, they did not understand what happened to me, which we talked about on the last podcast. But when it came to our home, we had a very joyful upbringing. And I think that has a lot to do, still to this day, with me. I see all of you as my family and my children. So it's a big answer is culture. The other is, I think when we get to know the Lord and get to see the way He deals with us, it helps us in the way we deal with our own children.
Yeah.
Because you see His love and you see our ways with Him, and yet He loves us in spite.
Yes.
And that enables us to love our children no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, I've told the Lord so many times, I said, Lord, you're so good to me and I'm not good to you. The way I see myself, sometimes I see my heart being cold, and I see Him as always loving, always there, always forgiving, always helping and lifting me up. And I remember meeting years and years ago with Sister Rebecca, that precious nun, Lutheran nun from the Sisterhood of Mary, Basilia Schling's group there in Darmstadt. And she said this to me years ago. She said her number one problem is how often her heart becomes cold towards Jesus.
Wow.
And I was shocked when she said that, because I thought if there's anyone who loved Jesus, it was Sister Rebecca and Basilia Schling and all those wonderful sisters.
They're so humble, yeah.
And she said to me, her number one problem with herself is how cold her heart often gets towards the Lord. And I thought, what? Did I just hear her say that? And our hearts sometimes do get cold.
Yeah.
Baby, but we see how the Lord is with us. He is kinder than kindness itself. He is lovelier than love itself. I wrote the Lord, and you probably saw it. I showed it to you years ago. I wrote the Lord a letter years ago when I got saved. And I told Him how I felt about Him. And I still have that prayer in a very special place. And I said, Lord, hold both of my hands for the rest of my life. In case one slips out, you'll still have the other.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Because I don't want to lose Him,
Yeah.
And the thing that is so amazing is, I've gone through rough moments. And I think this helps me, and I pray will help many parents today who are listening. I've had many rough moments when I really thought He was gone. When I really thought He gave up on me. And He did not. Even in my worst hour, in my darkest hour, we all have those hours. In my darkest hour, when I really thought, I'm on my own now, the Lord has forsaken me, He did not. He was still there. I will never forget probably the worst moment of my life. That season, 2010, 11, 12, were like the worst.
Yeah.
And the worst of all was like in probably 11, the end of 2011. You know, ministry was still going on, but my own personal life was really struggling. And I'm walking through my bedroom, and I had not heard his voice in 2 years clearly like that. And I'm walking through my bedroom, and suddenly I heard him say, I'm waiting for you to come back home. Mm. And when I heard him, I just fell to the floor crying. And I thought, are you still here, Lord? Are you really still here? But he promised, he said he'll never leave or forsake us. Yeah. And when we see his heart, we want to be like that. Yeah. So to this day, I call all of you, still every day.
Oh yeah, you're very good about that.
I always check on you and see, okay, are they okay?
Yeah.
You know, but now with some of you, I'll call you a little more often because you have more on your plate. Others have less on the plate, so I don't call them as much. But I do call every day, and we talk every day with all of you guys. But the thing that is important I think, for a parent, any Christian parent to do, is to show the love of God to their children.
I agree.
Because that's how their children at the end will walk with God. Because they'll say, okay, I saw it in my dad, I saw it in my mom. And that example is powerful.
I love that.
And that's what I pray will continue to happen in the lives of people who are listening to us.
Yeah.
And our own lives.
Yes, I remember one of our Sweet Jesus School students came up to me after I shared that story. And it's not a story I talk about a lot publicly, but I thought it was really sweet to share today. And she came up crying and she said, I'm estranged from my daughter, and hearing that story helps me so much. And she said, it really is just about loving Jesus and loving your family and not being ashamed to go take a risk. And I said to her, there were many things that I struggled with as a child. My dad was gone a lot, and, we had a very unusual upbringing. I mean,
we did. Well, you did,
really bizarre in many ways, with the picketers and media and all these things that were just really hard to make sense of. It's still hard for me, and it's hard for my kids now when they see that. But it's, it was an unusual upbringing, but beautiful at the same time. I'm thankful. But there was a lot of things that I think we all would have said we could have all done different if we could go back in time. But I told this sweet student, I said, when my dad had that moment with me in the middle of the road and was just so undignified and so just wanted me back in his life, I was like, it was almost like everything I had ever gone through as a child, anything that he ever did that hurt my feelings as a child, or any pain I felt in my heart from whatever, we all go through things as children. I was like, that was gone in an instant. The moment he did that, it was like a new beginning for us and a new day, and it really was. And I think that's a beautiful thing to kind of hit on, which we just did, and we're going to move on. But for parents not to be too above showing our children our weaknesses and accepting them for theirs, because it's a beautiful thing, and I think it helps the hearts. I just think of so many relationships with parents, Dad, that are strained to this day, that their parents die and they never get healing because moments like that don't happen. So
it is sad.
It's really sad.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really beautiful, and it's a story I'll cherish for the rest of my life. Something else, Dad, I wanted to talk about that I don't think you talk a lot about publicly is that season where you almost, lost your life in the hospital. We were together, and, we were in the ICU for a week. You had a heart condition, and you're stubborn, so I had to fly all the way to California and force you to go to the doctor, remember? Yeah. And they said you would have been dead within 24 hours because all of your organs were shutting down because your heart was beating so fast. And so thank the Lord for his mercy. But I remember watching you in the hospital when we were told you might not have more than 24 hours, and we had some doctors come and say they didn't think you were going to make it through the night. I remember you were so filled with the Word of God. I remember watching you worship. It was almost like you were here, but you were so caught up with Jesus, Dad, and I'll never forget that. Talk a little bit about just that whole journey for you, like how it brought you even back in love with Jesus in a new, deep way, how it made you have an appreciation. I remember you told me when we walked out of the hospital, you said, I noticed the flowers. I noticed the color of the flowers. I noticed the birds chirping. Like there was like this new awe and wonder of life and just getting to do another day. Talk about that.
Well, I mean, I had this problem called AFib for a while. Mm-hmm. And during that time, I didn't realize my heart was beating so fast. I didn't even know it or feel it. And I began feeling shortness of breath. And eventually, I could not even walk just a few feet without stopping. Mm-hmm. And it was scary because I had just gone to Puerto Rico to preach in Puerto Rico, and I was in the shower, and I noticed that I could not even wash my hair without stopping and breathing, taking deep breath. Even just washing my hair was difficult. So when I came back, day by day it got worse and worse and worse, to where your sister Tosh called you and she said, mm-hmm. You better get here. Dad is not doing well. And I really did not know fully what was going on. And finally you came and you took me to this amazing doctor, Tiansang was his name. And he rushed me immediately into the hospital. And they began to give me LASIK and get all the liquid out of my lungs. And I did not know I was having congestive heart failure. And mm-hmm. My ejection fraction had gone so low. They said I would have died had I waited mm-hmm. a day.
Even a day, yeah.
And it was a very powerful moment for my life. Yeah. And but what really changed, I think, me in a big way was a dream I had after I came out of the hospital. And where I saw myself in a line with other people dressed in white, waiting to enter this beautiful gate covered with diamonds. Mm. And on the left of the gate sat a lady I knew on an organ, playing the organ, named Jeannie Clattenburg. Yeah. Alex Clattenburg's wife at the time. And Jeannie was with the Lord now. Yeah. She's with the Lord. And she passed away with cancer years ago. And she was a fantastic musician herself. When she lived, she was a great musician at Calvary Assembly in Orlando. And she was playing the organ. And on the other side of the gate stood the Lord. And now the Lord kind of motioned his head up and down, meaning yes, and the gate would open, and this beautiful music came out of the organ, and the person in line, and the first person in the line would go in, and then the gates would shut, and then the Lord again would motion yes, without saying anything, just his head would go up and down, and the gate would open, and the beautiful music would come out of the organ. And at one point, he moved his head to the right and left, meaning no, and the music changed. A very frightening sound came out of the organ, and two massive men dressed in white that I would suppose were angels. I don't know who they were. Even now, I'm guessing they're angels. They were angels. Came and took this man out of the line. And when he turned around, I was in the line behind I actually stood behind him a little bit. And I could see his face terrified. And then, slowly it was my turn. And I'm looking to see, is it yes or is it no for me? And the Lord did not do anything. And I remember Gina looking at the Lord. Is it yes or no for Benny? And I woke up. And when I woke up, I heard his voice. He said, I'm watching you. Don't blow it. Word for word, don't blow it.
Yeah.
And it was a moment that changed my entire life.
Yeah.
Because I knew this is not something that I need to ignore. This is something I need to take very seriously from heaven, from the Lord. And that's really when the change happened. It didn't happen the next day, but it happened very shortly after. When I made a decision. Because sometimes you have to think about these things.
You have to evaluate your life and everything. Yeah.
I made a decision that I will finish better than I began, and the only way I knew is to get in the scriptures. And at that time, about the same time, or right before, in fact, was when Mel and Nikki challenged me, dear Mel and Nikki, to read the Bible 3 times a year, which is once every 4 months.
Yeah.
And the change that has taken place in me as a result has been really quite miraculous, because the Word of God has captured my soul in a way I didn't realize could even be possible.
Yeah.
So ministry is war.
Yeah, it is.
And when you get into it and you don't realize that you're going to have enemies who want your destruction.
Yeah.
You're going to have people who come across as loving friends, but they're not. They come to really use you and eventually destroy you. And the longer you live, really the lonelier you get. Because you cannot trust as many people as you get older, because you kind of have to protect yourself, and you pull away, not fully, but you pull away somewhat for your own protection. And at that time, something happens to you don't realize. It's like when people attack you, you don't even care, because you're focused on what the Lord, on what the Lord wants, and on your spiritual walk with Him, and on finishing strong. So you see attacks as minor distractions that are necessary to keep you basically on your knees.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is now with me.
Yeah.
And the enemies will never stop barking or trying to harm. But as long as we walk with the Lord and as long as we are in His Word, we're safe. I mean, the Bible is clear that when the law of God is in your heart, your feet will not slide or slip. So, honey, that's just the key now. The key is Scripture. And at that time, it was a waker-upper moment for my soul and my life. That was 2015. That was 10 years ago.
Because you weren't happy
This year.
how you didn't feel close to the Lord like you do now. I remember you felt like there was a distance, and I'm watching you as you get older really go after the Lord so beautifully now.
Well, I thought...
You always have. I'm just saying it's increasing.
I thought I was close, but sometimes you're blind to your own walk. You don't know what your heart is really like till you have something like that happen to you, and it really wakes you up to almost like search your own heart. You know how the Bible says, "Search me, O God, and know my thoughts today," because we don't know our thoughts, we don't know our hearts. We think we do, but we don't.
Yeah.
And that's why David said, "Search me, Lord," because I can't search myself. And that is, I think, what happened to me is it allowed me to search my own heart and say, wait a minute, why would Jesus say, why did the Lord say to me, I'm watching you?
Yeah.
What is he watching for? He's watching for holiness. He's watching for purity. He's watching for me being serious about my walk with him, and not about ministry and crowds and money. He's watching my heart. What I don't want to displease the Lord in anything anymore.
Yeah.
Whether it's my theology or my walk, because I want the Lord to be pleased with me, period. But like I said, it takes time sometimes to know our way. It takes time to learn God's way. It takes time. Nobody can do it in one day because we're waiting on the Lord to show us the right way.
Yeah. But like I was saying, I think that's, as Christians, we could all do better to have more mercy, because we're going to make mistakes.
But honey, I do not want to be known for anything else except one thing, that Benny Hinn loved Jesus and loved his word.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't want to be known for anything else. I want to be known for serving Jesus with all of my heart and loving him with all of my being and loving his word and finishing clean. My heart is set on finishing better than when I started when I was 21 years old.
And I pray you do, Dad, with all of my heart, and I pray that I do.
I know you do.
It's, there's such a beautiful childlike side to you that I've always loved so much. And it's something that when people get to know you, they always say, I didn't know he had such a witty, funny, childlike side to him. And I'm like, well, that's really who he is. We hit ministry a little bit, Dad, and I'm in full-time ministry now. And I'm sure a lot of people that are listening or watching are thinking about going into full-time ministry or want to be in ministry. We're all really people, if we're Christians, we're called to share the gospel. But ministry is hard. There's been so many times that Michael and I will go through something and I'll think, what would my dad do? Of course, and I've said this before, like I always think, what would the Lord want us to do? But then I'll go back to, okay, my dad would keep preaching. He kept going after the Lord. How did you do that? I know there's many stories and I'm not going to give details just because I don't want to. But I remember I would call you a mess and just be like crying, like, Dad, what's going on? And you would just be getting attacked on, TV or something. And you'd be like, Jessica, I got to go. I'm about to go preach the gospel. I'm overseas right now. I'm fine. The Lord is with me. I trust him. Don't worry about it, honey. And you would just keep going. How did you do that?
Well, a little girl and a little boy were climbing up a mountain. Mm-hmm. And the little girl said to her brother, how come it's so bumpy? He said, we climb on the bumps.
I love that.
Okay?
That's good.
So you cannot climb on a mountain, honey, if there's no rocks.
That's so good.
Okay?
You never told me that story
I'm
until
telling you now. And I have found something in my life that I preached on just last night. We live by promises, not by explanations. God does not give us explanations. He only gives us promises. So God says to Abraham, I'm going to give you a land.
Yeah.
Come. He shows up, and what does he face? Famine.
Yeah.
What does he face? Troubles with Lot.
Yeah.
Hagar. And a whole lot of troubles. What happened to Joseph? God gives him a promise.
Yeah.
But what did he face?
Trouble.
Trouble.
Yeah.
We call
And
them
that
rocky
trouble,
roads.
if he didn't have that,
Bumps,
he wouldn't have,
huh?
stepped into what he stepped into.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How about the Lord?
Yeah.
How about Paul the Apostle? All the saints.
Yeah.
So the bumps are what we climb on. The rocks are what we climb on.
I love
We have
that.
to get used to it. We have to get used to it. And you have to come to the place in your life to let your adversity develop your call. Because out of it comes your call. Oral Roberts told me one thing one day was just an eye-opener. He said, "It was in my sickness I found the healing ministry."
Wow.
He had tuberculosis.
Yep.
He said, "In my sickness I found my ministry."
Wow.
God often will do that
Why is it like that?
because it is. Do you remember Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Yes.
Okay, you guys have ever had Kentucky Fried Chicken here? This camera?
You really like
Girls?
Kentucky Fried Chicken. I remember we were
Well,
in
I
Hong
used
Kong
to.
and that's all you
Yeah,
kept
but I don't know
ordering.
about it now, how good it is.
Yeah.
That started with a man, Colonel Saunders, in Kentucky, who was living in poverty. He grew up in poverty. And he said how poverty, his adversity, gave him $1 million idea.
Wow.
Chicken. So adversity creates callings.
I agree with that.
So this man
Yeah.
who was in poverty said to himself, I got to make a living somehow. And he came up with a recipe that changed the world, basically.
You're looking at Marina. So there is someone behind the camera that my dad loves very much. So
Look how many
he's
people
talking to
know
her,
about
but-
Kentucky Fried Chicken. So bumps are important.
Yeah. How did you disconnect though? Like we would go through hard personal things. I remember watching and be like, how is he going to be able to preach? Like there would just be things going on with family or you'd be getting attacked by the media. Like how did you just still jump on the stage and able to turn off that switch and just focus on the Lord and be a faithful servant in that moment?
Because your call is more important than your trouble. And when your call becomes your life, all those troubles vanish into thin air. They disappear. They mean nothing.
Yeah.
Because your call becomes priority. Your focus on
Being
it.
faithful to the Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the joy that was set before him, he endured the cross, it says about the Lord. He saw the joy, he saw the church, he didn't see the pain of the cross. So this is important, honey. That ministry, you have to see the vision. Where are you going? Why are you in it? And the moment you know you are called, you will no longer worry about the enemies. But if you don't know you're called, you're going to always worry about the enemies.
Yeah.
And that happened to me at some point when a news organization came against me. And I was living in Orlando at the time before I moved back. I moved to California. I moved to California in 1998,
right?
I think it
Yeah,
was, 1999. But I was living in Florida here before that. And this major network was doing a story on me. And I'm walking on the OCC property where you guys are having church now. And a gentleman named Larry was walking out in the parking lot area. And he said, how come you're so peaceful? They're going to destroy you tonight. I said, Larry, they cannot destroy me. I said, if this work be of God, nobody can destroy it. If this work I'm in is not of God, I would have destroyed it myself a long time ago. I said, if God really called me, nothing will happen. Nothing, no harm will come. They cannot stop what God is doing. Because I remembered Gamaliel's words in the book of Acts to the elders of Israel about the apostles.
Yeah.
Because that time when they came at me, I had a moment when I began thinking, am I smart enough to have crusades? No.
Yeah.
Am I smart enough to be on TV? No. Am I smart enough to have 10,000 people on a Sunday? No. So who's doing that? The Lord. Well, if He's doing it, it's not my problem.
He'll sustain it. Yeah, that's so good, Dad.
And then it's settled, like it's His work. Because you come to the place to realize I'm not smart enough to do all this.
Yeah.
I mean, I cannot fill stadiums, nor can I fill a church, nor can I be on TV daily, nor can I have 600 people on staff and pay their salary.
Goodness. Yeah.
That's how many we have on staff.
It's a big responsibility.
Like, how smart do you have to be
That's so true.
to have that many people on staff? And I'm thinking, I don't have the brains to do all that, so God had to do it. And He did.
Yeah.
And He's the one doing it. At that time, He was doing it. Today, all this is behind me. Mm-hmm. Today, the ministry is changed because I don't really want to have crusades today in the United States.
You're older in a different season.
I don't want to be on TV daily, and I don't want to have be a pastor anymore.
That's a lot of work.
I think I paid my dues. Today, I just want to enjoy my life. I want to travel. I want to minister when I'm invited. I want to help you, young people. And then when I'm done, I'm going to say shalom.
Yes.
Go home. That's it.
I know you will.
I'm not interested in having a big ministry anymore. I had it for many years. Imagine stadiums being full for 20 years. That's a long time to have packed stadiums.
Yes.
And finally I said, no more, thank you very much. I paid my dues.
Yeah.
But the thing is, baby, is Oral Roberts told me one day, he said the life of a healing ministry is 8 years, historically speaking. 8 years. He said, if you go beyond 8, you'll make history.
Gosh.
We went for 20.
Yeah, every month. I always tell our team that because we travel quite a bit and it can get tiring and everything. And I just go, gosh, I don't know how my dad did it. We did like sometimes 2 crusades a month when I was a little girl, and then the church, and then there was conferences on top of that. And
I did
amazing.
A crusade a month in the U.S. Yeah. I did a crusade overseas every 60 days. I did a conference a month in the U.S. and Canada. I had two events every month in this country, plus OCC every Sunday.
3 services.
And then
on
Sunday and Wednesday.
Service.
And we did that for years and years and years. And finally I said, no more.
That's a lot. But
that's a lot.
The Lord gave you
and
grace
daily TV
to sustain it.
Yeah.
God bless you. I won't complain anymore when I feel tired because my goodness. Dad, you are such a fun person that is so witty, very childlike. You have a really funny sense of humor. I think you're pretty hilarious. You give all of us a really great laugh. But Dad, on a serious note, to wrap up, if you could do it all over again, just life, not just ministry, but life as well, being a father or anything, if you could go back to your younger self before you got started, in ministry, yes, but also just as a parent in life as well, what would you do different?
The Lord has blessed me with all of you, and it's been a beautiful life overall. I would not have gotten on television as quickly in Canada just because we had crowds. Yeah. I was given the wrong advice to get on TV in 1978, which was, I felt, too early.
You weren't ready, don't you?
I wasn't ready for it. And I would have probably also, but again, in those days, I when you're young, I was 21 years old when I began ministering. I would have probably should have had more Bible training. I know that the pastors in Canada in Toronto, wanted me to go to Bible school. And Bob Tattinger, who was the superintendent of the assemblies, of God in Canada, who was a dear man who used to attend our early meetings, met with me one day. He said, "Don't do it." He said, "You already are anointed by God. You're drawing the largest crowds in the city." And he said, "Let the Lord be your teacher." And he was right, except I should have probably had some kind of training theologically. But in those days, there was nothing online.
Yeah.
I could have still probably had some Bible teacher help me. I did have wonderful pastors that gave me a lot of guidance. Winston Nunes was one of them. He was a powerful Bible teacher and man of God, and others like him in Canada that surrounded me and helped me with theology. But I could have probably done better, because I think people, when you draw crowds, people look up to you. Mm-hmm. And I was too young to having such crowds. Yeah. Sometimes you're not thinking about
process.
Theology, and you're not thinking about what they're looking for. You're thinking about how to build and keep your ministry alive. Mm-hmm. But that's one thing I tell young people today: get to know the scriptures better when you're young, because it gives you a good foundation. But eventually, the Lord did, in His mercy, in His absolute mercy, began to surround me with amazing Bible teachers and professors from different groups that came around me and really helped me as the ministry began to grow, especially when I moved to the U.S. That's when they began gathering around me. And when I wrote Good Morning, Holy Spirit, more of them came to assist me and help me and guide me. One of them was Jack Hayford. Pastor Jack was an amazing influence on me in a great way. So was Oral Roberts. So were many others that the Lord sent. So in Canada, I had 3 or 4 men who met with me regularly and discussed the Word of God with me and gave me some good foundational truth from the Bible that really helped me in those early days. But later, I had some incredible people, more of them that really God had used. But then, I thought, okay, what do I do now, But I began studying the Word for myself. And later on, of course, things began to get better and better and better. Yeah. And today, I have 4 doctorates already that I've received, honorary doctorates, one from ORU and other Christian universities. I think one of the best things I did is go to Hebrew University online and learn biblical Hebrew. That really has affected me in a powerful way. So, I would tell young people, and you're doing it now. You're going to Regent online. Yeah. I would say to people like that is very important. But be careful also of what university you choose, because some of them are not really teaching the Word of God anymore.
Yeah, I agree. So just you're saying more training.
More training, more foundational teachings.
Before you're trusted with more.
Before you, ministry. If you're not called, don't do it. Yeah. And if you are called, then preach it. If you have to live on bread and water and walk on the sidewalk.
What do you mean by that?
If God called you to preach the gospel, you have to do it. If you have to do it on a sidewalk and live on bread and water, because He called you to do it.
You got to be faithful to that.
Be faithful to that.
Yeah, I love that, Dad. Well, thank you so much for being on this podcast. Thank you for being with us. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I sure love talking with you, Dad. I could talk with you all day.
I loved every second.
I love it.
Because I'm talking to my daughter.
I love you, Dad. And thank all of you for joining and watching and listening. It really means so much to me. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to the Jessica Koulianos podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, you can find more resources at jessicakoulianos.com. You can also join us in person or online every Sunday at Jesus Image Church. For more information on Jesus School, local and nationwide events hosted by Jesus Image, and resources, visit us at jesusimage.tv.